Hey, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing out there in Atlanta Bird Gangland and also on Uncle Steve's Lounge? What is going on? This is your Uncle Steve out here. It is March 18th, and unless you have just crawled out of a rock, been on vacation, or something else to that extent, you know what we're here for. And we're here to discuss it, man. It's probably gonna go like that for the rest of the week. I can imagine. This is one of those. Was it one of those weeks where you kind of say, uh, just wow, because you think about last week. We were talking last week about extensions, restructuring, and things of that nature, and it just shows you how quick the business of the NFL can change. It went literally from, man, another season with Matt. Maybe we can make the offensive line up. Maybe we can get this thing rolling. And now it's a matter of let's see if we can move everything around and get this thing done. So for the record, let me go ahead and just start at 1:10 Friday, March 18th. I know nothing. I know as much as you do. I'm looking at Twitter like you are. I'm looking at Facebook like you are. I'm looking at ESPN. I have all my alerts on. I have everything pretty much set up if something were to fall down, fall in between now, myself going to work or whatever. So there's nothing that I can probably update you on. We're at the moment where we know Matt's bonus was on deck for today. They have moved that back. Kind of conflicting because you hear some people say Tuesday and some people say Monday. I think they're trying to make a decision by Monday, and then Tuesday, one way or the other, he would get paid, barring some movement. So that's really the only other major thing that's been going on as far as that. I'm sitting here looking at alerts as we speak. But yeah, am I surprised that this happened? No, not really. I mean, you're always. I've said this from the beginning. I said it last year, which I'm surprised that the Falcons didn't go out and try to get a quarterback last year. Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith owe nothing to Matt Ryan. This is a guy who was here before. This is a guy who's been the face of the franchise. Thomas Dimitroff's first pick. Pretty much, you can't say Matt, there's no way we can sit here and quantify the worth of Matt Ryan to this franchise. Absolutely none. But when Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot were brought in here, their total mission was to change the outlook of the Atlanta Falcons. If we were in such good shape and the people here were so great, we wouldn't have made a change from Dimitroff and Quinn. But we did. And these two guys, who Arthur Smith impresses me a lot, and not only in press conferences, but he's impressed me a lot with squeezing 7 wins from this particular roster last year. Man, that's amazing because these guys are not this roster as constructed in 2001 was not one that you would look at and say, lot of great guys there. So they're looking towards the future. And the moment they came in here, I was talking with somebody earlier, and I'll probably do a post review while we up here. In other words, post review, go through a couple of posts in the Atlanta Bird game while we're at it. There were a couple of folks in here, just emotions are high because there is a large part of folks that are team Matt Ryan, and I can respect that. Matt Ryan's been here long enough to have an attachment to some people, so I get it. But when Arthur Smith first got here to Atlanta and that introductory press conference that he praised Matt Ryan, but he didn't go overboard to the point where this is the main reason I came to Atlanta. His sole purpose when he got here was to work with the roster that Terry Fontenot helps put on the field. So when they were on here, they did not overly, they didn't go crazy about an endorsement for Matt Ryan because they know there could have been some changes. And when they had to restructure, then it was like, well, our quarterback right now. They didn't never say right now, but our quarterback is Matt Ryan. And really the same thing this year. Look at the exit interviews from Arthur Blank, from Coach Smith, from Terry Fontenot as a GM. None of them committed to anything at the beginning of the year. What they kept saying was, Matt Ryan is a talented quarterback, but we're always looking to improve our team. And I heard Arthur Smith say this so many times that I don't understand why people think he would be making that up at this point. He said that numerous occasions. So this isn't a shock. To me, it isn't. To some people's system, it is. I guess if you get used to something so many times, you become a little bit, complacent. I was going to say complacent, but, you get stuck a little bit. But he said it several times, and I know some of you heard it. So that's where I am with this. But no news right now. I'm going to go through some of the questions real quick, and then I'm going to get back to my points of everything. I'm trying to match up with some of y'all. If y'all have StreamYard, put your like I said, don't cost you anything. Sign your thing on the StreamYard so I can recognize you. Because some of y'all, I can't see the names as I'm going back and forth, but I'm trying my best because the comments come kind of fast. Stephen Jackson, what's going on, brother? How you doing? What you got for us today? Hey, I just have reaction. My reaction is good for the Falcons. You're going from a local legendary quarterback. Local, he is. In the Atlanta Falcons lore, Matt Ryan is the best quarterback at this time to ever put on a uniform. No doubt. I didn't say most talented. I didn't say got the furthest or whatever, even though he did. But the best quarterback in Atlanta Falcons history. No doubt. So April Ty, I know that's Ron. How you doing, Ron? Good to see you, brother. Gregory, what's going on? Said, what's up? Tired of refreshing my phone. Man, and listen, Twitter, man, I wish Twitter had an automatic refresh. They don't do it quite like that, but I would love to see if they would refresh their stuff because I'm always looking for that. Joy, how you doing? What's going on? Steve, I must admit, Deshaun Watson had me shook for a second. Oh, man. What's up, Sean? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you out there in Uncle Steve's lounge. Thank you for supporting, as always. I appreciate that. Rusty, my friend, says, a new era, Steve. Hope we do Matt right and send him to a contender, but this man is such a fresh vibe. I'm going to get to the Matt Ryan angle on that in 1 second after I go down here a little bit. Shot Boogie, what's going on, my friend? Said, let's go Falcon Nation. It's that time. Rusty also says they're probably working on a contract, probably going to give him an extension to free up some money now, all while calling teams to find out about Matt's next stop. My brother Keith is on. What's going on? And Rusty, what are the chances Deshaun was the plan all along, but they could not get him last year because of the legal stuff going on. Gregory comes in and says, I recall you saying when Fontenot and Smith took over, shortly they are going to want their guy for choosing the quarterback. And Greg, and I don't want to be the guys like the worst line, and I hate when people get on and try to, I told you so, I told you so. I'm not that person because I don't know. And officially we still don't know because nothing has been done. But if this is about opinions as fans, and this is about what you think is going on. So I'm going to tell you what Steve thinks. This is what Steve thinks is going on in the background. I haven't heard anything. I don't know. But this is what I think is going on. I think Deshaun Watson is here. I have no doubt that not only does he want to come here, but I believe he's here. And I think he's planning on being an Atlanta Falcon. I think what happens is now the communication has to go to Matt Ryan. Now, we've heard the rumors that Matt might be tickets, as well he should. He probably was making plans Monday to have his little receiver camp. Well, he didn't have receivers to go to camp with, but he was going to probably do his little regular receiver camp thing that he always does. But, that was Monday. And now all of a sudden we are knee deep in this negotiation trying to get one of the most talented young quarterbacks in the league. And they probably had to approach him like, hey, Matt, listen, man, we told you we were going to try to improve this thing, but unfortunately it's going to come with us trading you. Where do you want to go? Where does your family want to go? And when they talk about postponing this bonus, and I keep hearing that, what is Deshaun waiting for? What is Deshaun waiting for? I actually don't think it's Deshaun. I think you have to get your ducks in a row with Matt Ryan first. Think about this. Matt Ryan on Monday was not only making plans to stay in Atlanta, the report had come out about his restructuring. The fans were probably settling in to say, okay, well, we're getting ready to go through this one more time. So, here it is. But this is kind of a shock to the system if you're Matt Ryan. Even if you know it's a business, even if you know things can happen, you can't be ready for somebody to tell you, okay, all of a sudden today things change, bam. Now it's time to uproot you. We're talking about family. We're talking about kids in school. We're talking about just your, style of living. Just because you have money and just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean it's when you have to uproot your regular home to move somewhere else. That's a big deal. So I don't doubt that behind the scenes, I feel like there's a lot of let's let Matt have a chance to breathe. We dropped this on him. We're telling him what we want to do. We're hearing now that he doesn't have a no trade clause in his contract. So again, the team was well within its rights to make this move, but you don't want to publicly come out looking like the bad guy. All respects to brother Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, that was one of his things, bad guy. But you don't. I think you want to make sure wherever Matt is going to go, or wherever you're trying to get him to go, is somewhere where, one, he can thrive, and two, he's going to be okay with the area that he's going to. I know everybody keeps saying Indianapolis, best place, best situation, whatever. What's to say Matt doesn't want to go to Indianapolis? I don't know. Maybe he got in a fight with somebody in Indianapolis and doesn't want to go there again. I mean, you want to do your due diligence as an organization to help him transition as smooth as possible. You owe him that if you don't owe him anything else. Some of the nonsense, well, he doesn't deserve to go anywhere because he hasn't been winning. And that's feeling stuff. This is real life. Real life, that man is getting ready to move. And as much money as you make in your career from that standpoint, when somebody just tells you, hey, well, we don't want you here anymore, and we getting ready to send you to A, B, or C. It's tough. I think about it like the military. For those of you who've been in the military before, when you start thinking about when you know you've been in your duty station for a long time. They don't tell you where you're going. A lot of times you can go to your folks and they'll give you like a idea. It's maybe 3 places that you're most likely to go. But then next thing you know, you get your orders. You're supposed to be in, you're sitting in Fort Benning, Georgia, and next thing you know, they sending you to uh, California. Or worse yet, send you overseas, sending you to Europe. And you have to, you know, get your mindset because you don't want to go, but you gotta go. And that's the situation here. I think Matt and his family, and as we see his, I'm assuming they say his sister-in-law is making all these likes and stuff to different posts and things of that nature. But I think this is a deep breath for the Ryan family. I think it's a deep breath in respects to Matt Ryan. And just to say, hey, we want you to go out as smoothly as possible. Of course, somebody telling you you're going is not going to be anything smooth about it, but at least as accommodating as you can be going out. So, from that standpoint, I can appreciate them possibly giving him the weekend. So, these are my thoughts. I don't think Deshaun is sitting home saying New Orleans, Atlanta, New Orleans, Atlanta, New Orleans, Atlanta. I think he's waiting to see what's going on with trying to get Matt's stuff in order. And you're not going to hear anything from the organization. You're not going to hear anything from Matt, and he probably had to quiet his in-laws, I'm sure, from being careful what they like, being careful what they do on social media, because people are going to read it a certain way. I'm sure the Falcons have had closed ranks from yesterday's Kyle Pitts tweet, where Kyle might have gotten a little excited and had the little premature tweet about the Falcons and talking about what was about to happen here. And then, which is the funniest thing of all, I'm trying to see if I can find the tweet here so I can put it up here for you. But he made the tweet out, and then he tried to come back and suggest that tweet, he had a tweet and then had his mouth zipped up, and then comes back and say, no, that was about Casey Hayward. Who's trying to keep a secret about Casey Hayward, who's a free agent? Who's got to keep a secret about Casey Hayward coming here on a 2-year contract that's less than $7 million a year? So, of course, he lost all credibility to me for that. But, so that's what I think. I think going on right now, I think behind the scenes, in my opinion, without knowing a thing, I think this is all about Matt Ryan. I think this pause is all about Matt Ryan. And if you're the Deshaun Watson camp, if you're in that stable, you don't want to, jump out and start being premature and start saying things about what's going on. As far as the New Orleans angle is concerned, it just doesn't make sense. If it was truly where his heart was torn and he wanted to go to New Orleans is in a position yesterday. They could have got him immediately. They cleared all the cap room. They only had $5 million to get right. And I'm sure once he came to the team, and if he comes to Atlanta, for those of you worried about that big cost initially, they're going to redo that contract. They're going to redo his contract. So just get ready for that. So some folks that get all worried about the numbers, they are going to redo his contract. And then it's going to look good for us the first year or two. And then as we're getting used to with the Matt stuff, you'll see some balloon payments at the end that you'll eventually have to work out. But if you're the New Orleans Saints and you've done everything you could to, accommodate his request, and I'm not suggesting that those restructures were clearly just for Deshaun. I'm sure they were to show his people that, hey, we're making the room for you. But at the same time, if you're New Orleans, you're saying, "Hey, bro, we got everything set up for you. All you got to do is say yes. You say yes, we're good." But I think the Falcons slash the Matt Ryan situation is, for a lack of better words, kind of pimping out New Orleans. I told one guy earlier on a post today, I said New Orleans is the side chick because right now they're kind of holding you, you know, on the side. Yeah, I might come to you, and then again, I just might stay over here. I just have a feeling in my gut that if they were gonna make a move, if New Orleans was the choice, I think you would have heard it by now. Now, does this say in the 11th hour that he could say at the last second, you know what, y'all taking too long? I'm just gonna go to New Orleans. That's fine, but the Matt Ryan era is still over with. At this time, you know, you might as well just face it that Matt is going to be gone one way or the other. And also, when you start thinking about why this is probably quiet and why the Deshaun Watson camp probably wants to still lead New Orleans on, think about it. It would behoove the it would behoove the Deshaun Watson camp to expedite the Matt Ryan thing as quick as you can. So Matt Ryan's value right now is not going to be worth the first round pick. You know why? Because everybody and their mom knows that we're trying to get rid of Matt Ryan. And if you're trying to get rid of somebody, you're not going to get top value for him. Almost like the same thing with Julio. That's why when the Shannon Sharp call last year, and Julio was like, "I'm done," or whatever he said on the phone call, I can't remember. But whatever it was that he was like, "I'm out of there," or whatever he said, when he said that, teams probably came running, but they weren't running with a first round pick because they already knew the Falcons were trying to get rid of him, or Julio was trying to get out of there. So you're the team on the other side. You're like, well, you can't ask for the world because Julio's trying to get out anyway. And I think the same thing with this here. I think if you're the Falcons, you're trying to get as much from Matt Ryan as you can. You know why? Because maybe part of that compensation package for Houston, if you can sneak a second round pick, and who knows, for Indy, a team like Indianapolis that knows they're a decent quarterback away from contending, maybe they will get, well, Indy doesn't have a first round pick. Scratch that. Maybe a Seattle that says, you know what, we'll bring Matt in, draft the quarterback, and in the meantime, Matt can be there to do what he can do while we groom the next guy and get him ready. Who knows? But the value for Matt Ryan is much less than it was, would have been about a week or so ago. About a week or so ago, before all this broke, you probably would have easily got a number one pick for Matt Ryan if it was on the hush-hush. But now people are hearing, oh, it's a battle between New Orleans and Atlanta. And New Orleans is set. New Orleans is set, but the Falcons have to get rid of Matt. If you know you're on the other side of negotiating, you want Matt, if you're, keep using Indianapolis because they're the team that everybody keeps talking about. If you're Indianapolis, your first chip you throw in is to say, what about a third round? And the Falcons say, no, he's not. He's worth more than that. Yeah, but you need to get rid of him. Matter of fact, you need to get rid of him before 4 o'clock Monday or you owe him $7.5 million. Think about that now. So I'm not trying to tell you Matt is not worth a first round pick. I'm telling you other teams aren't going to readily just give you a first round pick. Seattle has a ton of them right now. But they're not going to automatically just give you a number one pick because they're looking at your situation and saying, oh, Falcons, y'all need to get rid of him. So we play ball. Now, in the Falcons case, you got to get this stuff done kind of quick. And who knows? You might get it done before this weekend. You might get it done this evening. But I think that's the total holdup when people are saying, what's taking so long? Why didn't Deshaun just make the decision? I think the decision probably has already been made. It just makes good sense to me. If New Orleans was clearly a strong pick and you were strongly thinking about New Orleans, you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff for the Falcons. You can just go to New Orleans right now. They got the cap room, they got the team, they have everything ready for you. You don't have to do a thing except show up. So that's why I think, in my opinion, I think that's something when you start talking about his value. And then also, Matt, again, this was just brought up to Matt. They said, yeah, Matt, we need you to decide by Friday around 9 o'clock where you want to go. We got to get this deal done. Matt be like, hold up a second. Got to get Georgia Peach Movers. Got to get my kids together. Got to, So it's not as simple as it may sound. But that's just my opinion. Again, I'm not speaking on knowing anything. I'm just giving you my opinions. Let me see. Where was I? Who is that? Right there. No matchup. Shy Boogie says the running back pickup. Yeah, Damian Williams. That's actually a good pickup for us in that spot. We definitely need some running back help. That could really, I still think you draft or either bring in another, maybe one more running back. I don't think the Mike Davis stuff is going to work out. Gregory says, I love what Matt has done for the organization, but it's time to plan for life after Matt. No disrespect, just business. And I wish a lot of people would think of it like that. I don't think a lot of folks, there are just too many dedication. Hold on, let me stop. The moment this is official, I am definitely going to make a whole live dedicated to what Matt Ryan has done for this organization. But this conjecture that we are doing him so wrong and we are just being the worst $260 million later. As I said, there were 2 times in his career where this organization made him the highest paid person in football. And Arthur Blank was here for all of that. So when you talk about disrespect, dude, disrespect means I cut you without you knowing. Disrespect would be, you know what? No matter what, we're just going to make this call for you. No, we're not going to give you a chance to decide anything. So all these people with the disrespect, y'all can miss me with that. Matt Ryan is ticked off, I'm sure. Matt Ryan is probably not the happiest, but Matt Ryan also realizes this is a business. You were in the same spot for 14 years. And in that 14-year tenure that you had in Atlanta, you were one of the most handsomely paid players in the NFL. A lot of other players looked at him and said, hey, he doesn't deserve all of that. But I do. He's the quarterback of the team. And the 2 times he was up for payment, the year after the NFC Championship and the year after the second playoff berth in a row after 2017. Perfect timing. You're an agent. You're going in there saying, hey, my guy, after 2012, look what we did. We almost got you to the promised land. Sign me up for 5 more years at a premium price. We'll get you there. Didn't start off right, but then at the end of that contract, you had the Super Bowl year and the 2017 year where he took you to the playoffs, 1 step from the NFC Championship. And you go back to, you say again, look, my guy's still in top shape. He's good. And the Falcons fell for it again and said, let's sign him long term. I'm not talking about signing Matt, period. It made sense to sign Matt, period. I just don't think it made sense to go 5 years. I think if you were with Matt Ryan at the age he was at that time, I think you go a little bit less. And I'm sure teams coming behind this are doing that. Kirk Cousins is basically year to year. Tom Brady was year to year. Drew Brees at the end was year to year. Ben Roethlisberger at the end was year to year. Because you just don't know. And do I think Matt Ryan has some left in the tank? Of course he does. I think he does. But for our organization, you can't miss out on an opportunity to not only rebrand yourself, but to show the fan base of the Atlanta Falcons that you're serious about changing that energy, changing that vibe into place. Deshaun Watson is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in this league, arguably when healthy and things going right, top 5. If you see an opportunity on your doorstep and you don't at least ask, even if you can't do it, come on now. Terry just doing his due diligence. Arthur Smith doing his due diligence. Neither one of them committed 100% to Matt. Said Matt's our quarterback, but they've been playing the quote for the last 24 to 48 hours of Arthur Smith. Giving the praise to Matt, but saying, hey, if we can improve this team, let's improve it. And what better place to improve it than at the top of your roster? Rusty says him delaying a bonus was a class act too, knowing that they're looking for your replacement. I mean, Matt Ryan, like I said, as a person, folks can go all they want to about a player and maybe declining a little bit. That long ball might not go out as smooth as he has. Matt Ryan as a guy is straight up one of the coolest. There's no doubt about that. So people who unfortunately go personal with people, that's your own problem. I don't do the personal stuff. I don't get deep into the personal. I know from the outside looking in, I've seen some of the things that he's done off the field. I saw things he was doing 2 weeks ago off the field in the inner city that some of the folks here don't even do. So I'm not going to be the person that's going to say, yeah, get rid of him. He was a horrible person for the community. He doesn't look like our community. He doesn't belong here and all that stuff. That's nonsense. I'm talking about for the success of your team on the field. This makes too much sense. And you've got to, those opportunities you must take advantage of. You got to. Anthony, what's going on? He said, yo, what's up, bro? This is awesome for the logo. Good luck to Matt Ryan. He's been great for the city and appreciated, but it's time for a change in the city. That's it. That's all it is. It's not personal. We talk about that with everybody. It's not personal. Gregory says exactly, exactly. I was at the needs of the Army, Fort Drum, where I went. I wanted Fort Lee, Virginia. Again, I was at Fort Lewis, Washington. And I wanted so bad to come back towards Fort Benning or somewhere on the East Coast so I could be a little closer to home. Where did they send me? Germany. So, again, sometimes you have to, and then again, I'm not trying to totally suggest it's the exact same as the military. I was just trying to, for Gregory got what I was saying, as far as sometimes you have to go places you may not want to go. That's where I was vibing with him on that. So for those of you who want to come back and it's not like the Army, that's not what I was saying. But Gregory, great reply. Rusty says, Steve, what are your thoughts if we have to include AJ in the package? I keep seeing that scenario pop up. And then June, how you doing? June says, I keep hearing AJ is going to be dealt. You can't justify trading away a top 3 corner. Folks, there's going to be collateral damage. There's no way that you're going to be able to pull off a move like this without collateral damage. The upside of Deshaun Watson right now at 26 years old at quarterback is too great. Love AJ. AJ's a local guy too. Love what he brings. But someone has to be the sacrificial lamb. If it's AJ, yeah, I hear you. But someone's going to have to pay. And that, when we start talking about the Matt leaving and it's not personal, blah, 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 same thing with AJ. It's not personal. But if you think Houston is just going to give him away and say, no, y'all keep AJ so y'all can keep building and be great. No, Houston trying to get as much as this. Houston's goal is to get as much compensation in this as they can. So you ask for the world. You ask for Kyle Pitts. You ask for AJ Terrell. You ask for the top players, and then you kind of negotiate and see what's going on. But as far as AJ is concerned, you would be foolish if you're Houston not to ask. And as an Atlanta Falcon fan, yeah, I love AJ. AJ has been great the last 2 years. Obviously, the accolades are coming in and whatever, but you got to get something back. And for those of you who say, oh, 3 first-round picks, yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's what we getting back, y'all. We're not getting a scrub back. It's not like we're getting Mitch Trubisky back. We're getting a proven commodity, a 1-year all-year pro during his slight 4-year career. And we'll talk about the off-the-field stuff at another time. That's coming. We know that's coming. We know everybody's not happy with all that, but we'll get that. But as long as we're not talking criminal charges, we can table that for later this weekend. We'll be back on this weekend talking about it too. But he is you talk about generational talent when everybody was talking about Kyle Pitts, the generational tight end. Yeah, I get it. No, this Deshaun Watson dude is the real deal. The real deal. And if you get an opportunity to make it, and yes, if we happen to have a little bit of luck with us because this is his home, close to his hometown, then so be it. AJ might have to be collateral. He might. So, yeah. Keith said for a good quarterback, you can. I'm assuming you're talking about the same thing. Yeah. RJ, what's going on? Say, what's up, Uncle? I'm tuning in. I'm super excited. Hope all goes as planned. I said, I would be shocked if the rug is pulled from under us. If the rug is pulled from under us, I would be shocked. But if it is, but I just don't think this far. Because, again, it would be all too easy for Deshaun to just say, you know what? I don't want to wait for all of that. I don't want to wait for Matt to decide where he wants to go. I don't want to wait for all the financial stuff. I want to go to New Orleans, where if I walk to New Orleans and show up at the Superdome today, they're ready. And I think if it's as simple as that, then I think he would have already made the decision. My opinion. My opinion. Keith says, I keep seeing that we shouldn't give up too much for a quarterback. That depends on the quarterback. Watson is very good. I know he was out last year, but before then, one could argue that he was the top 8 in the league. You could argue he was top 5 in the league. Since he's been out, he's given people like Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, folks like that a chance to see them. And nobody thinks about Deshaun Watson when he's off the field. When Deshaun Watson gets back on the field, he'll remind you real quick how good he is. He'll absolutely remind you. Absolutely. Tobias, let's go. I hear you, Tobias. You're the man, brother. Gregor said, I think the biggest selling point for Watson was the opportunity to play for the home team, which comes few and far between with his ties to the Blank family. And Gregory, when you're at home and going back again to you and I talking military, we're not making the money that he's making. But again, when you start talking about being close to home, when you are able to be one of the highest paid athletes in the game, being home, being around an environment of people that you know are supportive, and knowing that they're going to keep you when the times are down and things like that, man, there's probably not a price on that. I think you're absolutely right. I think Arthur Blank doesn't. If you go back and listen to the exit review from Arthur Blank after this season. Arthur Blank is ready to mix it up, man. And I think he probably told Terry, he said, Terry, whatever you need to do it. I got you. Obviously, he told him that because we're still waiting. But yeah, I hear you. Brother Tobias says, I've been told these fans what's coming. Just didn't think this team had it in them to go after a player of Watson's caliber. And Tobias, you know what you, myself, and a lot of fans are guilty of? We're guilty of assuming this franchise is still being run by Thomas Dimitroff. That's what we're guilty of. Almost like when the Smiths sold it to Arthur Blank. I think a lot of us were still guilty of thinking this was the Smith regime, and it's the Arthur Blank regime. Terry Fontenot is serious. They're trying to make this. They are trying to make this thing work. Gregory said the fact that he's delaying his bonus really shows Matt's love for this organization. And look, this is the team that drafted him. When a lot of people said we should have got Glenn Dorsey, even some people thought we should have got Joe Flacco. This was the team that gave him his home. This is the team that gave him his name. This is the team that he is far more. I don't care what he does unless he goes and wins a Super Bowl like Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford all of a sudden now is a Rams quarterback. But if Matt goes to Indy and wins the championship, he'll be right under Peyton Manning as far as statues in Indianapolis. But the mere fact right now, Matt Ryan, no matter where he goes, will always be remembered as an Atlanta Falcon quarterback. Always. Nothing you can do about that. John, what's going on, brother? Said, just like a bad call from an NBA ref, this is a makeup call. Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith knew after game 3 that they had messed up by not getting a quarterback last year in the draft. And faced with the prospect of another losing season with the same old, the PSL bleeding had to stop and stop soon. This new regime needed a hallmark achievement. This is it. There are a lot of folks out there that don't want to hear that, but that's a PN statement right there. It's a PN statement. I mean, you don't really even have to get as specific as game 3. I'll go even further, John. I'll go to game 10 or when we're in the stadium at a home game and nobody's there. So whether Matt was doing good or not, there was still this just even vibe in the air. When you're at a sporting event, you want to be excited about your team. You want to be excited about the product on the field. You want to be excited about the potential on the field. Last year, aside of Kyle Pitts, be honest, what was there to be excited about? We didn't get excited about Cordero until we saw him a little later in the season. There was nothing. So while part of Terry Fontenot's charge is to also have success on the field, there's a business side to this, folks. And like John was saying, how many reports we keep hearing and y'all keep posting about PSL defaults and all of that. And I'll go a step further on the PSL thing. Even if the PSL thing isn't a problem, there were folks, I can tell you for a fact, everybody down on my road has to be paying a lot for their PSL. And if they're paying a lot for their PSL and you're just not showing up, that should tell you the excitement level about your team. You're investing thousands and thousands of dollars, and instead of coming to the game and rooting for the team that you invested thousands in, you decide, I'll sit home, chill out. That's crazy to me. Dave says, sorry, it would be foolish for the Falcons to give up 3 first-round picks and A.J. Terrell. That would essentially be 4 first-round picks. You got to pay to play, Dave. Dave, nobody's going to give you anything. You got to pay to play. With that attitude that you have, you're going to be stuck. You might as well keep Matt then. Keep Matt. Keep being mediocre. And we keep having the same conversations, Dave, that we have year after year after year. Stretch Matt out until he's 41. Keep having the 4,000-yard seasons that we have and nothing to show for it. That's what you're going to do. And I respect you for saying, yeah, listen, there is no perfect scenario with the first round. First-round picks are going to be it. They have said that's the price all along, 3 first-round picks. If we weren't going to do 3 first-round picks, we wouldn't be in this right now. You have to have, sometimes you got to pay to play, y'all. Rusty said, you taking calls right now? No, I'm not, buddy, because I got to pick up my daughter here in a little bit, and it's raining like I don't know what out there, so I'm going to meet her at the bus stop, so I don't want to start getting into phone calls and while we do that, John says, and Ryan has no real choice as to where he goes. The Falcons are being courteous. If he drags his feet, I'll run him out of here like a house squatter. Nah, but you have to do this right, John. You have to do this right. And you got to remember, people on the outside are looking at this situation too. You don't want to, look, whether you like them or not, you don't want to send out your longtime franchise quarterback with a totally nasty feeling. Listen, it's already nasty enough you're telling him he has to leave, but you don't want to send him out totally like that. The attitude you have, you're not going to attract any free agents because the word will be out on you is that you don't care about your folks at all. You just say, screw it. Matt's under contract. It's a difference from a free agent and not signing him back. He's under contract. You have to do this somewhat on a good term basis. June says, I'd at least try to offer Grady or Debo instead. It would suck to lose a young cornerstone on the defense like AJ. I know we have cap space next year to build. I just don't want to see us giving free agents those Jacksonville type deals because we can't build through the draft for 2 or 3 years. I don't think they'll do that. Jacksonville is in a very unique situation where nobody really wants to play for Jacksonville. Think about the contracts that they gave out to people. As much as we love Foye is not a top 5 linebacker in this league. He's probably top 10, maybe top 15, but he's not a top 5 quarterback. They paying that man $15 million a year, something I thought the Falcons would never do. Christian Kirk, who couldn't even hold his own team together when D-Hop left at Arizona last year. They gave him 4 years, $72 million. They're damn near playing that man. What's that? Is that $15 million? Yeah, over $15 million a year for Christian Kirk, who couldn't even hold it together for his own team last year. Jacksonville has the money. When you have the money to go out there and make these, go knock yourself out. It's impressed me when you sign Allen Robinson, when you sign Von Miller, when you sign big time free agents. So I get what you're saying. You don't want to be the team that's just doling out money to no names. I get that. But that's the investment that we're making in these 3 first-round picks. All of a sudden, Deshaun Watson becomes a Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in the fact that he becomes the commercial for the franchise. Who wouldn't want to come play with Deshaun Watson? Who doesn't want to come play with a talented quarterback like that? So I hear everybody when they say, yeah, but you're giving away, you don't know. These could be Rashad Hagelman's. This could be Vic Beasley's. This could be Tat McKinley. This could be Calvin Ridley. Those are 3 first-rounders I just named. You don't know. So before we're so quick to say, oh, first-rounders, they're so whatever, this is your investment. This guy is that type of guy that you make that investment in. So I disagree. I think you can make that move. Would it to offer Grady or Debo? Yeah, maybe. I don't know if they want. Well, Grady is on the last year of his contract, so they can't. I don't think they would take an expiring contract on that team. And then Debo, I'm not even sure Debo right now, from their standpoint, is worth it. Royal Heritage Gaming says, agree, brother. You got to let the new regime work. I agree. Robin says, I'd include some sweet pimento cheese and sweet tea in the trade. Anything to get Deshaun Watson. Listen, man, I already offered my services. I said I'd donate some stamps from work to help him get here. And hey, I'm down for it. John, how you doing, John? John says, I like that they are trying to do something. At least they're trying. And that's another thing, folks. The last few years, we've sat there and said, man, the Falcons, they're waiting 3 days to try to do something, whatever. And it was looking the same way this year. We weren't jumping out at people on Monday for the free agent. And then all of a sudden, Falcons are what? They doing what? They trying hard? So give this new regime and at least a kudos. Even if it doesn't work, if Deshaun pulls the rug from under us, goes to the Saints today, you can't say they didn't try. They were trying. Toya, how you doing out there? Toya says, love Matt, but we knew a change was coming soon, but this is just too incredible to pass up. Let's go. And Toya is one of them things where you talk about the excitement. Think about it. That is awesome. What's up, Damon? How you doing, sir? It's too exciting. You can't pass it up. Think about it. This city is going to go crazy. And a quick pause for those who are ready. It'll be just like Vic. No, it won't. Stop. It won't. That was a different era. It was a different situation because you didn't have black quarterbacks being picked number one and in that position. Mike Vick had that opportunity and electrified everybody and did his job for about 3 years. That's different. Deshaun Watson, when he puts on the Atlanta uniform and steps out on that grass at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, he automatically, the first day he steps on there, becomes the most talented quarterback in Atlanta Falcons history without throwing a pass. The moment he puts that uniform on and steps on the field, I say it again, the most talented quarterback to play for the Atlanta Falcons the moment he steps on the field. Challenge me on that. You can't. Mike could run like the lightning, but couldn't throw worth of nothing. He could throw a long pass, but ask his receivers how great he threw that short pass. So, yeah, you know. Orion, what's going on, man? Orion says, I understand the connection with Matt and all these years he gave us in the run for the Super Bowl. It's been 4 years since we've been contenders. But what folks fail to realize is the Terry and Smith job is at stake. So for them to keep their jobs, they got to do what's best for the organization and put us in best position to win the Super Bowl. And not only that, Orion, it's going to be some patience too. 2022, whatever we get in 2022 is a bonus. Because the cap mess is kind of weird this year, and the situation with Matt is pretty weird this year. So next year, honestly, will really be the reset. Next year, when we lose a lot of that cap, a lot of the dead cap stuff comes off the books, we're going to be ready to make a move. Hopefully, Tom Brady will decide to retire. Toya said it got so bad I couldn't give my tickets away. Yeah, I used to be one of those people that if I knew it was a game, and most of the time I'm at the game, so I usually don't try to sell mine. But it used to be a point where if I knew I wasn't going to make it to the game, I could easily get some money for them back when the Falcons were rocking. Now, I can't even. You try to give them away, people don't want to go. Hey, I got to make something this weekend. You want 2 tickets? No, I think I'm going to be cutting the grass. Yeah, that's how bad it got. Shah says, I love the moves that we have made so far, but to be real, we have to nail the back haul of that draft. Yeah, listen, the draft, we've got to hit. We've got to hit on some draft. This is still a young team, though. This is still a young team, and I think you have the room to for some growth with some young players, but you got to hit on them. That day 3, you have to do your due diligence. Obviously, day 1 and 2 are going to be non-existent depending on what we get from Matt in the trade. But, Rusty says, supposedly Watson's agent is trying to get a 3rd and 4th year guaranteed on his deal. That is what the Panthers had an issue with. I'm on board with you. He's a rare talented quarterback. Whatever the price is, we pay and worry about that later. I'm going to tell you, when Arthur and Terry made this decision to go after him, it was the Bills-Chiefs playoff games this year. They seen the quarterback play and said, we cannot compete in this league if we don't have something to resemble that. And it's funny that you say that. You're absolutely right. To see those 2 type of quarterbacks, these are for those of you ready for the mobile stereotype. That's not what it was about. The mobile stereotype. Those guys went back and forth with such an athletic ability between the both of them. Every team in the league, I'll be willing to bet you more people remember the Bills-Chiefs game than they remember the Super Bowl. Because you saw the quarterback play and how the quarterback play elevated those teams. Nobody talked about how horrible the defensive plays that played that day. They were talking about how great the quarterbacks were. A great quarterback can overcome deficiencies. Say that 3 times. Deficiencies. But good point. Kenneth said, for the first time in years, I feel the GM will put the team over players. I will give them 3 years to be competitive. I think it's shorter than that, man. I think you can turn this team around in 2. I don't think Tom Brady is going to end up this second stint. I don't think he's going to be there more than 2 years. I think Tom Brady has such a bad taste in his mouth when he lost that game. I think he wants to call himself come back and run it back to try to see what he can do. And I really hope he falls on his face. But I don't think he's going to be there for 2 or 3 years. I think this to be with the acquisition of Deshaun Watson, I think this team can absolutely be in the mix by 2023, 2024. This year, whatever we get is gravy. But I think we can be in the mix. David said, I've said it before. We all need to know this is a business. This is why we have an opportunity to reach out in free agency. I feel the few pickups we did so far are pretty solid. I agree with you. I think we definitely Damian Williams is good. I like the cornerback we got from the Raiders. That's a nice pickup. I do like that as well. So I agree with you. John says there's only so much foot dragging they should tolerate because Ryan is perceived as holding up the inevitable. That is a problem. Hawks better be looking at this situation, especially Herter and Bogey. I'm ready to run them out of town now. I don't think, and being on the backside, and I know I've been the first part of Matt Ryan's career, I was a huge apologist for him because in the front part of his career, he actually wasn't doing that bad. From 2008 to 2017, you could argue Matt Ryan had so much on his resume that you could talk about. Now, these last 4 years, you see you're in neutral. You're in neutral. When you're 7-9, 7-9, 4-12, 7-10, you gotta mix it up. Even if it's not 100% Matt's fault, which it has not been. This isn't an indictment all on Matt, but it starts at the quarterback position. Ask any franchise. Baker Mayfield fooled Cleveland for a couple of years. I'm dangerous. All that mess. And now they see the truth. A real quarterback does his job and keeps it moving. Everybody wants to. Deshaun Watson, his last year was 4-12. Well, you took away his biggest weapon. What did you expect? And I think Will Fuller was hurt some of that year too. You gotta, come on now. Damon says we gotta pay to play, and that's and Damon, when you hear people talk about these picks. And I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. You can't give elite players away for nothing. If Kyle Pitts turns out to be who he is 3-4 years from now, and something happens where you say, I got to get rid of Kyle Pitts, I'm not getting rid of him just to get rid of him. So Houston is saying, we realize we have, Houston brass will never tell you, but they know they have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, especially when he left. They knew they had one of the top 5 quarterbacks. You can't just give them away for nothing. Well, we'll take a 3rd rounder just to get them off our hands. Yeah, right. You better get what you can. Gregory said, I just had to put somebody on game that nobody is perfect in Watson's situation. Nobody, but be aware that nobody heard anything until he wanted out of Houston's owners play politics too. And that's the one thing again, I'm not gonna get a total soapbox on this until probably after he gets here, because some people, whatever. We're a big stone throwing society sometimes. Sometimes we are. There are a great number of people that understand. Listen, this man did not, according to a grand jury, and I'm assured the evidence isn't substantiated enough to bring up criminal charges. The man was not charged for anything. If anything, he's guilty of maybe bad judgment in some situations, and I have to be careful on saying that, because again, there's nothing criminal about what he's done. In civil cases, there are a lot of people that just do civil cases for spite. You can't sit here and tell me honestly, as to person, that all of a sudden, what started off as one or two people who might have had a grievance with him and he didn't want to pay the money. Let's go back to where this started now. This started as somebody trying to extort him. That's what it started as. It started as somebody that was ready to sing to the public and ready to do battle in public. Then all of a sudden, to your point with the ownership, and again, nobody is saying the ownership had some employed person to dig something up, but I don't know. All of a sudden, you happen to find 22 people that were all of a sudden wanted to press charges against him. And again, I'm not trying to get in 22 people's head and tell you what they were thinking, but I just thought the timing was very interesting. I thought if you're talking about somebody that was right in the moment, that's one thing. And you're talking about somebody that I'm sure was compensated very well, and then all of a sudden come up with the charges later. If I don't know. It all smells fishy to me. But whether it smells fishy or not, you know what it is? Right now, the man is not facing criminal charges. He's trying to deal with civil depositions at this moment. So I don't know what the issue is. We all make mistakes. We all make bad judgments at some time or another. Be careful. I'm very careful when I start talking about people's personal stuff. I've made horrible decisions in my life. I'm not going to sit here and try to chastise the man for something I don't know what went down. And I'm pretty sure what they say is three sides, one side, the other side, and the truth. And I think somewhere along the way, we'll find out, especially if these cases end up getting, what's the word? When they make a settlement. If all these cases get settlements, you'll see. Yeah. Rusty said, you said it best, Steve. Guy will come to Atlanta to play now. Terry said, F them picks. I love it. Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. So listen, I'm pretty sure hopefully something comes down this weekend, maybe even tonight. But hopefully something comes down. If it does come down, all your boys here, Marcus, Tidy, Nicholas, myself, we got it. Brother Ryan out there, Brother Quintez is out there, Armani. We all got you covered. I see John out there too. So everybody, if we get some stuff to go down, I'm pretty sure we'll have a lot to talk about. But in the meantime, still in a waiting pattern just to see how this thing goes. And until then, man, just hope we come up with something positive for the team. Anything to get this team going in the right direction starting in 2022. Until then, y'all take care, man. Have a blessed day. Be careful out here with this nasty weather. And y'all have a good one, okay? Peace.